Hey guys, how's it going? This is Jake from the Brotherhood account. This week we're kind of carrying over last week's discussion, which was, for me, I said the whole thing about what's in your pants and how people identify. For the sake of this video though, it's going to be from the perspective of my girlfriend and what it's like for others to date someone who is trans, so what it kind of means for you. Before I get into this video though, I would like to do a quick disclosure that I would be using words that might be uncomfortable to some people, like, sorry, I'm trying to connect over here, like, get out of here, thank you, penis, vagina, breasts, gay, lesbian, straight, things like that. So if those kind of terms make you feel uncomfortable or upset you or trigger or anything like that, don't watch the video. I don't want you guys to sit there and watch something that makes you feel uncomfortable or anything like that. So just skip to the next person if you like. It's totally cool. Before I get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel that you're on, as well as your Instagram account. And without anything else being said, I'm going to just get right into it. So last week I said something along the lines of basically that when people ask you or say the term, what's in your pants, it doesn't necessarily mean what's in there so then I know if I can date you or not, but it could also mean what do you have so that I know how to identify. And that's exactly what we're gonna talk about this week. I'm sure a lot of other women or men who are dating people who identify as trans are kind of battling maybe how they identify. This person's like so consistent of trying to like connect. No, we're not connecting. I don't want to have a relationship with you. Jeez. Okay. Okay. Oh, jeez, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, so if you guys are kind of confused about, like, I don't want to say that you're confused about your sexual identity or where you would, things like that, but maybe if you're new to dating someone who's trans and you're kind of a little bit confused, hopefully this video can help you out. So from my girlfriend's perspective, she had a really hard time kind of coming to terms with how to identify because we don't really use labels, you know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of like two people started dating, we fell in love, and that'd be that. We didn't really talk about it, but we have friends and things like that that were very curious to know how she identified while dating me. You know, are you gay? Are you straight? Are you bi? Are you pan? Like, what are you? Everyone's so curious to know. In the very beginning of our relationship, I think the first term that she really gravitated towards was lesbian. And I think that kind of just came out of pressure from other people. And then she was kind of like, oh, maybe I'm straight because I identify as a straight man and identify as us as a straight couple. So she was kind of really torn between the two. And the reason why she didn't want to identify as straight was because she doesn't like to have sex with men or be in relationships with men. But then if she kind of identified as a lesbian and then people who don't know I'm trans saw us, it'd be like this weird, awkward conversation. So it's like, it's kind of weird to identify people, you know what I mean? But I totally understood how she felt. If she did identify as a lesbian, how that would make me feel awkward. People are like, oh, why is your girlfriend identifying as lesbian? You know, if they didn't know I was trans. Which I'm sure now everyone knows I'm trans because I'm putting all my stuff on the internet here. But I didn't really understand that. And then she didn't really want to identify as a lesbian because it's like, yes, for me personally, I don't have surgeries, so I'm just gonna kind of jump off track here for a second, just because I want to clarify. I realized in my last video, it is very kind of personal towards my own experiences, and I've kind of realized now that when I talk about sex a lot, I kind of talked about trans men having the same genitalia that they were born with, which that's not always the case. Even if it was the case, some men do get prosthetics, which is basically just an extension of themselves, to be intimate with a partner with, and it doesn't even have to be considered lesbian sex, you know? So I just kind of wanted to clarify that when I'm going to talk, it's just kind of about my personal own experience, because I don't have any surgery, so I can't like really, relate in senses like that. So please don't be offended when I say like things like that, because it's not geared towards you. But yeah, like I was saying, she couldn't really identify as a lesbian because even though, for me personally, like I said, I don't have surgeries, I have the female body parts I was born with, but my face is a man and my body is like a man, you know? I have a hairy body and I'm more muscular and I'm not as curvy or soft. Like I don't have the female figure anymore, you know what I mean? So she was very kind of confused because she's like, I like these parts of you that are the intimate parts, but then I like your physical appearance. So for her, she was very, very confused of kind of how she identified, you know, and I was like, okay, well, maybe you are straight and I'm like your only exception. And she was kind of like thinking about it, and we did a lot of self-reflection over the past like couple of years of us being together, and she, you know, admitted, no, like, I'm not straight. I don't want to, and I don't like to have sex with men. She stated that her previous relationships, that they were more, that she dated were more like, I don't want to say girly, even though that's the term that she used, but like, there was no hair about them. They're very like soft, clean skin, which kind of made me insecure because I'm like a hairy fucking beast because I'm Italian. So I was like, okay, what are you trying to say here? But like, I kind of understood it, you know, at the same time, what she was saying, because, you know, she was saying like, she does come from a Christian home, and that's what was right. That's what was normal to her when she was growing up. So yes, you know, I could see how if she were to date a man, how they would look more androgynous or maybe more girly or feminine or things like that, and then come out later in life as queer or gay or something like that. You know, that kind of made more sense to me when she was explaining it. I think that's kind of a lot the same thing for me personally. Yeah, I dated guys when I was like in grade 3 or 4, and looking back, they were like the girliest like little boys ever. They had long blonde hair and they didn't play sports. They were just very artistic and just, you know what I mean? Like just the typical girl that I go for now, you know, and looking back, I'm like, okay, well that kind of made sense that that's the type of boy I went for when, you know, that's just who I kind of like, you know what I mean? I mean, it'd be kind of weird for her to be like, yeah, I date this huge, muscular, manly, bearded man and then date like a woman or someone who's trans, and it's like what? Okay, that's kind of weird. But anyways, yeah, I kind of understood where she was coming from. And, you know, she was saying that, you know, she couldn't really identify as straight, and then she couldn't really identify as lesbian. So the term that she kind of was able to feel more comfortable with if she had to box herself in was queer, gay. And I was kind of like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard, because I've never heard of like a woman calling themselves gay, I guess. Like sometimes I say gay, but I never really identified as gay. I just said gay as in just gay. But to me, it was kind of like, oh, gay is like strictly men and lesbian strictly women, you know? It's like to kind of like give categories. Because back then, even like a couple of years ago, it literally was just LGBT, like that was it, you know? So it was like lesbian, gay, bi, trans. And so I kind of thought that, you know, if you're gay as a female, you're called a lesbian. If you're gay as a man, you're just gay. You know, so like, that's kind of why I was a little bit confused. And, you know, she broadened my eyes and was like, no, like this term is very much of an umbrella of kind of the whole community of it and things like that. And which I totally agree with that terminology now that she's kind of explained it to me, and I agree with her point of view. Again, you know what I mean? Like I was saying, she was very confused because I look manly. I don't want to say manly because there's so many dudes out there that are so much more manly than me. But I'm no longer a butch lesbian, you know what I mean? So like, again, it was kind of hard for her to differentiate, you know, how she was feeling and things like that. Which I always joke around with her, you know, like we're straight in the streets, but we're lesbians in the sheets. You know, like if I'm gonna be straightforward with you, that's just kind of how it is. And I was joking about that the other day, and then I started to do some self-reflection on that, which is why earlier I kind of said that not all men have the same genitalia they're born with. And for me, I didn't go in depth about that for my last video, which makes kind of a lot of sense and goes on to like kind of my next point, where I was talking to a lot of people and they were like saying the whole, how would you date a straight woman, or how would you date a lesbian woman, and things like that, you know? And I kind of straight up said, you know, I feel more comfortable dating someone who identified as a lesbian or a pan or something like that than someone who identified just as straight, because, you know, the whole sexual identity about it and things like that, you know? So when I was thinking about it, I realized, you know, a lot of men do have the bottom surgery, or they use prosthetics, which is basically just like I said, they're an extension of themselves, and that's how they are intimate and things like that. So that was something that I was like, oh, okay, it's very interesting. And I didn't think that, you know, technically to them, well, not even technically, like that is straight sex, you know what I mean? So like for them, they could identify as a straight man and a straight woman, and that would work and that would make sense. But for me and my relationship, we don't do that. So it was kind of a bit more even confusing for her because, you know, like I said, like it was very much like outside, that's how we looked, and inside, that's not how we kind of acted, you know what I mean? I don't want to get like too personal into it, because, you know, it's kind of like, I don't want to like disrespect her and things like that, because she's not here. I have permission to say certain things and her feelings, but because she's not here, she's at school, I can't, like, I don't want to get super into it, because I just don't want to disrespect her or say something that, like, she's like, why'd you say that, dude? Like, that's so off-putting. But yeah, so if you are a lesbian and you find a trans man attractive, does that automatically make you straight? No, it does not make you straight. If you're straight and you're attracted to a transgender man, does that mean you're automatically gay or whatever? No, it doesn't. My girlfriend and I were talking about this literally the other day. Everyone has eyes. I can see who's a good-looking dude and who's not a good-looking dude. Does that mean that I want to have sex with them? No. She can say, yeah, that guy is really good-looking. Does she want to have sex with that guy? No. It's just, everyone has eyes and we can tell who's good-looking or not good-looking. But if you're sexually attracted to that person, I definitely would suggest you do a little bit more soul searching, because you're probably queer or gay or lesbian or something like that. You know what I mean? If you're a straight woman and you're kind of like sexually attracted to a trans man, you're probably not 100% straight, which is really cool, and be open to your options and things like that. But I just kind of want to bring that to light, that, you know, depending on how you have sex or how you want to be in your relationship, it might not always mean that you're straight. But like I said, you know what I mean? It really doesn't matter about labels, and as long as you guys love each other and you're in that relationship for one another and there is nobody else, I don't really think that labels matter. I know my girlfriend loves me, and I'm not really concerned about her going off and trying to be with a girl or things like that. And, you know, it doesn't cross my mind. I'm just in the relationship with her, and that's what I'm trying to focus on. That's what I'm trying to think about. And I think that's really important for anyone to do. I know it does become tricky, you know. I think nowadays that everyone kind of feels like that they might lose their person. And I mean, if you're a complete asshole and your person leaves, then maybe you kind of deserve it. But I get it when people are kind of nervous to date someone who's on both sides of the fence, or someone to date a trans man who's in a relationship with a lesbian. You know, it gets kind of like this whole, I feel like almost like a competition. You know, like you're scared to lose that person out of fear that someone else might do it better, or they're looking for somebody else. And that's like not the case. They're not looking for anyone else while they're in the relationship with you. That's why they're in the relationship with you. And unfortunately, sometimes people do get cheated on, and that does happen, and fuck that person if they do that, because you don't deserve it. But I promise you that they're in a relationship to be with you, and to not have these huge concerns or explosions in your head of, oh my gosh, I'm trans dating a straight woman. Is she constantly wondering to be with a man with a penis? Or I'm dating a lesbian, is she wanting to think about being with girls? You know what I mean? Like, it's not about that. It's just about you two together. And like I've said in my other video, making sure you guys have open communication, that you guys are always honest and open with each other, and don't say things to hide your identities. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to always identify or put yourself into a box, but when you do want to say or give a preference for somebody, just be honest about it. That's one of the things, I can't remember if I even mentioned it in the video or not, but she did say that she felt in the very beginning of a relationship that she felt obligated to say that she was straight and lesbian, just because of the whole peer pressure and everything else. So just make sure you guys aren't doing that, you know what I mean? Just speak honestly, speak openly, speak transparently, and everything will be good. I do want to say thank you for the one girl who, not even one, there's a couple of you guys, but this one actually kind of made me feel really good about myself. So I did want to kind of shout her out in a certain kind of secretive way, because I didn't ask for permission to shout her out. But I do want to say thank you for reaching me on my personal account and saying that you appreciated my last video, because I was very nervous about giving my opinion on such detailed and explosive type topics. You know what I mean? It's very controversial, these things that we're talking about, and I really do appreciate when you say that you enjoy my opinion and things like that, and I really just want to thank you, and that made me feel really, really good, and that I was at least saying something that made sense to other people. And I hope this video makes sense to you guys, and if it doesn't, make sure that you guys are leaving your comments down below, or you guys are messaging on the Brotherhood account or messaging on my personal account, and we'd love to get back to you and answer your further questions, or even make a video about questions that you guys have. So if you do have questions, make sure you guys are asking them, and I'm like going to be 100% open with you guys and honest and answer them. So thank you very much, and stay humble. Thanks.